Hey, happy day, everybody. How's it going? What's up? What's going on? My name is John Kovacs Jr. I am stoked to be here and chat with you guys today. I'm going to be adding some details down below. Here we go. Okay, saving that. So tell me, what questions do you have today? I think this is a great opportunity for us to chat, for us to converse, bring some of you up on the screen. But this is what we get to do. And let me just tell you a little bit about our core businesses here. Amplified Minds is a master networking company. And what we do is we help professionals become authorities in their space by teaching them, by showing them, by giving them campaigns, by building them out for them, and so forth. And as president of Amplified Minds, I help a lot of professionals get very, very specific and creative in how they build themselves as authorities in their space. Okay. And what does the word authority mean? Authority is essentially you being recognized as an absolute leader. Okay. We've taken several examples of this and we've blown it up and we've had a lot of success. And I love this because at the end of the day, really all that I get to do is brainstorm with people and then put those plans or those ideas into actual actionable items and watch it come to fruition. And it's one of my favorite things about being a masterminder. It's one of my favorite things about being an entrepreneur, but more so a consultant, right? Because I get to help people and we get to see really fun and exciting ideas come to life. So today I ask you, what questions do you have? What questions do you have? Because now's the time to ask, and I can address your questions right away. The other thing to do to talk about is the Champion Circle. Okay. Champion Circle is a connecting group that will allow you to build relationships with people who will actually help you thrive in your life. Okay. These aren't like the kinds of connections you make where you are expected to provide referrals to each other, where you go around the circle and share. No, these are like actionable items, like a team that was built around you so that you can have success, a team that's going to stretch you, that's going to push you, that's going to allow you to have more success in your life. Okay. There have been quite a few people who've come into our business looking for accountability, and we have either lost them as clients or we fired them as clients because they weren't ready to take on all that we provided. And because of that, people forget that accountability doesn't mean you need to help me get things done. Accountability means you need to remind me that I need to get things done, right? Isn't that what accountability is all about? It has nothing to do with other people. You can hold people accountable. You can hold them responsible, right, for what they choose to do, but you don't necessarily hold their hand. You get them to do it. It's the motivator that goes beyond. So today's questions, I want you to ask me what it is that you need help with, whether it be your business, if you need getting unstuck, if you need to make money, if you need business ideas. Let's collaborate and let's share right now. So open lines, open comment section. Please post those in the comments right now. And I'm just curious what you need help with today. And don't be like, I don't want people to know that I need help with something. Shut up. Like, everybody needs help. I need help. I come on this show. I actually own this show. And I tell people my vulnerabilities all the time. I share with people things that I'm looking for and things that I need. For example, I don't know how to build an online store. I know that there's integrations with the websites that we use, but I don't know how. And I would love for somebody. I will pay them. I will pay them. I will take them to lunch. We will do a golf date. But I want to learn how to build an online store because I have some ideas on how to help people during COVID-19. I have some ideas on how to transition my in-person, in-service business to online. And so there's some ideas that I've been looking out for, but I need help doing that. So I share with people all the time. This is what I need help with. And let's just pretend that I'm an example for right now. Okay. And by the way, I'm going to log in here so that I can put a question up here on the screen. And then that way, we can have a topic to discuss. Okay. So what do you need help with most today? Boom. So what do you need help with most today? I'm curious. So if you're jumping in, if you want to learn more or want to get involved on the conversations, I'd love to chat with you. I'm going to refresh my screen here. Please jump in. Please talk. Let's have this conversation. And if you're not, I'm going to go off. I'm going to go off the rockers, man. This is going to be incredibly fun. So as people kind of catch up here and try to jump in, I'm going to share this to a few groups. Obviously, the groups that I own. By the way, if you're like part of groups and you recognize that you can freely post within those groups, make sure you're respectful of those groups, right? Make sure you know that what you're producing or what you're providing is relevant to those conversations. I got a lot of people who join groups because we invited them, and then they feel like it's open game to just post, right? And then they end up posting things that are only beneficial to them, not the group. So stop that. Facebook groups were meant so that you could share benefits to the group. Now, my product or my service or what I'm giving to people benefits them. Yeah, but educate, provide. You know what I mean? Don't just do what everyone else does. All right. So here we go. Here's some fun. Let's talk about the first thing. I'm going to pull this up here. Let's talk about getting unstuck. How many of you are feeling stuck? How many of you feeling like you are not where you need to be? Right? A lot of us will, and a lot of us do. So if you're feeling like you are not where you're supposed to be, then let me ask you this. Where are you supposed to be? Huh? Where are you supposed to be? It's a good question. It's a good opportunity to reflect, to discuss, right? There's some cool things in the world, you guys. There's some cool things that we could be doing. As we're waiting for a few more people here to jump in, I have a few eyes. If you're watching, just say hello. Send me a hi, send me a wave, send me an emoji. I'd love to hear from you, okay? As we're jumping in here, I have some great ideas. And sometimes what it takes is a little bit of brainstorming. Sometimes what it takes is a little bit of discussion. And if I don't get anyone posting here in just a second, then I'm going to jump over to the whiteboard and we're going to go buck wild crazy. In fact, I'm going to start prepping it right now. Please jump in, say hello, tell me you love me. I need to know. I'm not that needy. Truly, I'm not. Okay. Awesome. Pulling up Facebook here, going live. Okay. Well, this is interesting. So we're going to have some fun. I'm going to play around here on my desk. I'm going to answer some questions that people have sent to me. In fact, I'm going to bring up a question that somebody texted me just the other day. Where is he? There we go. Okay. So a friend sent me a question the other day. They said, I had a thought and wanted to entertain it with you. They said, when people say that they are connectors or high-level connectors, do you think they live for other people's schedules? And here's how he clarifies. And if you're watching and you know who I'm talking about, don't worry, I won't share your name. I specifically think that a person, and although that they mean well, that they connect a lot and they have a lot of relationships. I feel that that person has to reply to what messages they get. For example, if you were to send them a message and they send back, I appreciate the message, I'll get to it later. That's their initial response. I see how it's great, but I also see that it's like an indicator that needs to jump at the opening in an email when it comes. But in their instance, it's messages. And I'll just kind of paraphrase here, but essentially the question is when somebody reaches out to you, is it imperative that you reply right away? But if you can't get to their question, do you put it off? Now, if I were talking to you, I want to know right when you respond what your thoughts are. I don't want to have you come in and say, hey, great question, I'll get to it later. Now, I know that I do that to a lot of people. But for me personally, I recognize and I realize that that's not how I want my conversations to go. Now, if it's like once or twice, like I get it because everyone's busy, not everyone can do it. And I'm so guilty of this, but when people text me, and by the way, I just got like 20 text messages as soon as I went live. Again, I don't know what this universe is, you guys, but every time I go live, it's like they see me or they're just like, the universe says, John. And people text me, message me, call me. It's wild. It's crazy. And I don't get it. People also call me like right after my broadcasts. And it's like, they don't know. They don't see. They're like, okay, he's available because he was just at his computer. My schedule is literally minute to minute. I've got things I'm doing. I got calls I jump on. I got things I'm doing. I do everything for a reason, you guys. I'm not just sitting here waiting. But I would love to hear from you. That's what I'm saying. So to answer this person's question, and then we'll get into what a high level connector is. Let's talk about this. What do you prefer? Let's talk about the recipient end, right? If I ask you a question and you text me back, what do you prefer that response be? An answer or a delayed answer? Sometimes people would argue and say that a delayed answer is better than no answer. Like John gets to your messages in chronological order. Therefore, it might take a while for John to reply. Is that right? I don't know. You tell me. Like, we're all in the game together. We're all trying to do this better. Okay, right? But there are things, I guess, that we all should be aware of. So I thought that was an interesting question. He also responded and said, I know relationships and connections are great, but I'm curious if it could get to the point of being too much. And his question was, does this mean that you live for other people's schedules? And the truth is you've got to have your own. I used to be so nervous that the person that I was connecting with would totally be turned off if I did not live for their schedule. But in reality, I learned that person didn't really care. They just wanted to get on the phone, right? They just wanted to get in person. They just wanted to get into the meeting. And because of that, I realized that I needed to stop having this anxiety that I had to be in everyone's schedule, that I had to live for their schedule. But in fact, there's so much power behind telling people, look, I'm available from this time to this time. Can you make it work? And if someone does that to you, you know they're playing a good game, right? But if you do it to somebody, they typically are good enough people to fit within your schedule. I just got the sniffles, so I got to readjust here and make sure I don't sneeze on camera. So you see what I mean? That was a good question. I thought that was a really good comment. I responded with something similar to what I said. And this person said, I understand that, but my thoughts revolve around those who I guess can't prioritize what they do. He says that this person in particular they were talking about does it really great, but they might jump to a phone or when it buzzes to an answer a message, the fear of FOMO, which leads to being on other schedules, right? So that's a fascinating thought and a fascinating process. I'd like to welcome Mr. Kyle Taylor. Kyle, thanks for jumping in. Thanks for saying something. I appreciate you, man, and this has been awesome. I know you're a busy man, and it's interesting because when people need to get a hold of you, they will get on your calendar. But when you need to get a hold of people, sometimes it's easiest for Kyle to just pick up the phone and call and catch them right in the moment. And sometimes that's just how it works, right? But Kyle says boundaries are important in all relationships. Serve you first to serve others. 100%. Serve yourself so that you can serve others. I remember back when I was a young child, okay? And this is a fun story. I love this story because this literally built me up. But as a kid, and I tell this story a lot on stage about the 8-year-old John who backpacked into the Wind River mountain range with his dad and claimed his family legacy, right? And year after year after year after that, we would take the Boy Scouts, or we would take the Scouts with us up into the woods. And I got to the point where I knew the trails like the back of my hand. And I could really, really sprint up these trails, drop my bag off. I was very, very athletic, very, very nimble, and I could do everything to an extent where I could expel a lot of energy. One year, and let me give some background too. The Kovacs tradition that my dad impelled on me was that when you do the hike, you get up there as fast as you possibly can. You turn around, you come back down the trail, and you pick up the strugglers, or you pick up the oldest generation's bag so that they have a lighter walk up to the campsite, right? And this is like a 6-mile hike. The first 3 miles are all uphill, and your backpacks are heavy. It's in the beating sun, right? It's not an easy hike. It's miserable. But I got to a point in my life athletically where I could sprint up 6 miles to drop my bag off at base camp, sprint back down to the mountain and catch them on the beginnings of the trail and help them carry their packs up. Well, one year in particular, I got to the top in a record amount of time. I took a quick lunch break, and then I sprinted back down the mountain with my water bag. And I got about halfway, and I didn't even get to one of the last people. I got to someone like midway up the trail, and they were really, really suffering. Like they could not just go on. So I said, you know what, man, I'll be back. I'll grab your pack back. I'm going to take it to the base camp. I'm going to sprint up there, and then I'm going to drop it off, and then I'll go back down and see if I can catch anyone else. So I added 6 more miles to my already completed 6 miles. I went back 3 and then forward 3. So that was now 12 miles. And then I got to the destination, dropped their bag off, sprinted down, and I met up with them again. And they actually weren't doing too hot. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm just going to give you my water. Make sure you make it. Just keep going straight. You're almost there. And then as I sprinting down the trail back to help anyone else, all of a sudden I started to feel woozy, like queasy and disoriented. And I recognized that I had been cameling my water all day, that I would drink a little bit and I would store it. But I had been sweating, I had been exercising, I had been exposing a lot of energy. And now the 15 miles I had put in to catch up with people, I recognized that I was in no shape at all to go help another person. But I felt that like anxiety, like, oh, I should go help others. I know it's the right thing to do. I know it's what I need to do. And I kept thinking to myself, I just need to go. I need to help my dad. I need to help somebody in need. But I couldn't walk straight. I couldn't see straight. I was a living target in the middle of the woods. You know, if a mountain lion had saw me and said, oh, that kid's it, this is easy prey, right? I was all of a sudden at risk. And so instead of trying to help others, which I had already done a good enough job, but instead of trying to help more people, I had to take care of myself. So I went over behind a tree, behind a log, took care of myself a little bit, laid down in the shade, cooled off, filled some water. I was waiting for hikers to come by, and I asked them for water, and I just told them what had happened, and I gained enough energy back to make it back up the trail to base camp. And when everyone had arrived, my dad came to me and said, dude, what the heck? Like, where were you? I was waiting for you. And I was like, Dad, I'm sorry. I made it. And I told him the story. I said, I made it back down. I grabbed so-and-so's bag. I sprinted back up. And then I sprinted back down. And while on my way back, I got disoriented and a little bit of queasy in me. And I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And I made it back safely. And he said, well, I'm proud of you. I'm glad you took care of yourself because, that would have to suck if we had to life light you out of here or whatever. That would not be great. And to me, that was the best decision to make. And so to bring this into context, especially what Kyle says, boundaries are important in all relationships. Serve you first to serve others. Okay. So if you don't serve yourself, if you don't take care of yourself, then you're missing out. All right. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate that. So a few other thoughts and ideas that I had to share with you guys today. And it's interesting because I don't have to go a full hour. This is my stuff. This is my show. I was hoping that we could jump in and talk about what you need, what you'd like. And I know that there are a few people out there, and I'm going to just address their needs and their concerns. And what I might do, I might get fancy here, but I don't think I need to, is we're going to take some notes. Okay. We're going to take some notes, and I'm going to jump into this broadcast here. I'm going to share my screen. Share this screen, application window, and we're going to open up a new tab. And before that, I'm just going to do it already. Notes. Okay, cool. All right, so you guys are getting an image here. I'm going to shrink this so that it's a little bit bigger. Okay, there we go. You might not see this. I don't think you can. I don't think you can see that. So we're going to go back to, hey. There we go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about these notes, right? A lot of you are struggling, okay? Let's talk about this. A lot of you are struggling, and it has a lot to do with you're feeling stuck. Okay, some of you want to build better connections. And maybe you just want to grow your business. Okay, I had an individual reach out to me just the other day. And by the way, don't mind all my notes here. I obviously take a lot of notes. Okay, so there you go. There's some stuff in here that's good. Let me just make sure there's nothing that's like. Okay, interesting. Yep, there we go. Okay, just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything too revealing, right? And you know what? I'm actually curious about this, so I'm going to stop this share. And we're going to jump in to another piece. Is that cool? Awesome. By the way, if you're watching, say hello, man. Stop just being an observer. Actually jump in and commit, okay? This is an awesome opportunity, an awesome time. Otherwise, it will pass. Let me address a comment here. Somebody reached out to me the other day, and they said, "John, why aren't you guys doing free masterminds anymore?" Oh man, this is a good one. And I asked them in return, and I said, "Well, why didn't you come?" And they said, "Well, I wanted to come, but I just never I always forgot about it." And I was like, "You want to know why you forgot about it?" And they said, "Why?" I said, "Because it was free. Because you didn't invest in it. Because you didn't create the atmosphere, the quality in your life, right? To make this a priority." And That's the name of the game, you guys. All right, here we go. Awesome. I want to share this screen. This is a good screen to share. Inception. Hey, check that out. Okay, cool. We're there. Sweetness. So mastermind notes. Here you go. And there you go. There's some less revealing stuff in here. And that person was just like baffled, like, but okay, so why don't you still do free masterminds? And we told them, because everybody was taking and nobody was giving back. And it's not completely true, right? There was a purpose behind all of the free events that we did, but essentially people are addicted to receive. And what they're not good at is thinking. I had an inaugural dinner to launch a very, very important project for something that we had been building and growing. And we fed 40 people. Okay. And it came out of my pocket. I invited them. They were there. It was awesome. We had a good time. I entertained them. And there were only 2 individuals out of the 40 people who came up to me afterwards and said, thank you. Isn't that interesting? 2 people out of the 40 people who attended an event where we entertained them, where we fed them, where we gave them our respects, came up and said thank you. Now that to me is baffling. Okay. And not that I'm like calling anyone out or saying anything to anybody, but it's just interesting because people are so used to taking. Now, maybe that's a sign that, John, that wasn't a good event. Maybe, but no one has ever told me how bad my events are, ever. And I've never heard it from anyone else how bad our events are. In fact, everyone comes back to us and says, these were awesome events. These were so cool. Had a great time, right? And so unless people aren't telling the truth, which I like to believe is not happening, because I believe in humans and in people, but I want to share that I think that most people forget to come around and say thank you. Oh man, we could turn to the Bible here and talk about some of the great old, and no matter what your religious affiliation is, just know that it's literature and it's a great place to find stories, but it's all about the people who came back, and the story of the lepers, you guys, the story of the lepers, and how there were 10 lepers who were cleansed. Right? I'm obviously not like a biblical person. I'm just grabbing the story from what I can remember, but it's in good context. So if I just totally like destroy the story, just take it out of context. Okay. So 10 lepers approach the Savior and say, hey, save us, cleanse us. And the Savior says, go and wash in the River Jordan. And they go and they do. They wash in the River Jordan and they're clean. And all of them went on to rejoice, went to celebrate, yada, yada, yada. But one went back and thanked him. And that person was blessed. And the rest of them, who knows? Maybe they got leprosy back, but there was only one person who went back. And that person was blessed beyond reason, right? So there you go. That was kind of like the gist of the story. I didn't want to get biblical. I didn't want to get religious, but there you go. There's the gist of that story. So as we talk about this, a lot of people are struggling with a lot of things. But I want you to remember that you get what you pay for. And right now you are not paying for anything. You're watching this. And so I understand that there is no skin in the game right now. But let me talk about a few things. If you're feeling stuck, have you ever asked yourself how you got there? Right? How did you get there? How did you get there? I think that's a really, really good question to ask, because then you can say, can I turn this around? And I'm going to make this bold. Boom. Okay. So we know what we're talking about here. So feeling stuck. How did I get here? Can I turn this around? How do I get unstuck? 3 great questions to ask yourself if you're not feeling there. Okay. If you're not feeling like you're where you need to be. A lot of us are always working towards something, right? A lot of us are always working towards something. We're building towards something. We're saving money towards something. We're working towards something. But stop thinking that you will not be happy, satisfied, or content with life until you are in retirement. That is a horrible, horrible way to live. That is no way to live. So stop thinking that. And stop thinking that life is going to be great when I do this, when I reach wealth status, whatever the heck that means, right? Life will be good once I'm rich, once I make $1 million. Life will be good when I do X, Y, and Z, right? Stop thinking that. Because if you think that way, the truth is you will never make it there. I'm sorry. It's really, really just the point of it. Now, you will make it there if you work towards it and you do it. But if you don't enjoy life, if you don't enjoy the journey, if you're not addicted to the game and not satisfied with the wins and focus on moving every aspect of your life towards playing the game so that when you do win, right, that it's just not, it's not like, it's not something that you're surprised by. Okay. Because a lot of us are trying to win. And when we win, we're like, oh my gosh, I won. Oh my gosh, I won the lottery. And that's not how it works. Your mindset is completely off. So stop it. Stop it. So there's 3 great questions to ask yourself. How to build better connections. Okay, well, where do you find your current connections? I'm going to say something that might offend you. If you get all of your connections, all of your leads, all of your blah, blah, blahs from social media, it's likely that they are not quality. It's likely that they are not quality because you have to build a relationship, right? So where do you even find your current connections? There's a question to ask that will help you along the path. How do you build better connections? What do you invest into your current connections? And I didn't spell current wrong. I put a C in there. Current. Okay. There's another aspect, another question you can ask yourself. So what do you invest into your current connections? And then last is, how can I find stronger / better connections? 3 great questions you ought to be asking yourself. Okay. I don't, there's a couple people who I respect in the industry, professionals who are just awesome. They're super wealthy. They're successful. They're people who I look up to. They're people who I learn from, who I spy on. Like they're people who I literally watch the game and play their game. Okay. And one of them reached out to me the other day and said, "Hey, I'd love to talk about this. Let's do a podcast or a conversation on this." And I said, "Great." But they like the beginning of their sentences were like incomplete. They didn't really take thought into the comment. They just wanted to like leverage themselves into the scenario. And maybe I'm just thinking a little too much about this, but essentially they didn't really take the consideration of saying, "Hey, John, you're awesome," or "I love what you're saying." Instead, it was more of, "Hey, I teach on this. Let's get together and talk about it." And it was like, this is about me, not about you. And I thought to myself, that's not a great way to build a relationship, especially if you're at the top of your game and I'm not there yet. Look, I love with where we're at. I love the process. I love the game. I love the adjustments. Okay. I don't love the struggle, right? I don't love the challenge, but I do love solving the problems. And it was interesting to me when somebody who I respected reached out and made it about them instead of about me or about us, that I really just thought, okay, this is interesting. What's on their mind? And I wonder what happened there. So there you go. All right. And let's talk about grow your business. Okay. Well, first of all, why isn't your business growing? Right? Why isn't your business growing? And some people will say, "Oh, it's sales." No, it's not. Because sales are a byproduct of what? Systems and processes. Okay, clarity. I hate the saying, if I will build it, they will come. I hate it because no, they will not. They will not come. You have to go and find. You've got to hunt so that you can be the hunted. All right. Anyone in the Knights game or the Kingdom game, right? If you're going to conquer other kingdoms, you don't conquer other kingdoms by sitting and waiting for them to come to you. You might win a fight or two, but essentially your troops are going to get bogged down and your walls are going to be broken and people are going to infiltrate and penetrate your castle walls and they will take you down. So stop waiting around. You've got to go find why. So why isn't your business growing? Answer yourself that question. Another question you should ask is, what are other businesses doing to grow? This is huge because you need to be observant. You need to know what's going on in the world, right? You need to know what's going on around you. So if you can't see this, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, I'll take this off the full screen here in just a second, but we're almost done with our live hour. But I wanted to get into these conversations just so that you had a measuring point. Okay. So grow your business. Why isn't your business growing? What are other businesses doing to grow? And then ask yourself, how? How can I focus on only the things that will help my business grow? Okay, so that's a long one. I think it's good. You guys should all look into this. I'm going to copy paste that, put it in here. I'm going to stop the sharing. We're back to full screen. Hallelujah. Okay. And again, I'm getting text messages up the wazoo. Okay. Boom. Comments posted. All right. I don't know if it actually posted, but there you go. It's all in the comments section. Boom. What a huge comment, right? So there you go. So let's just wrap this up. Let's wrap up these conversations because there's a lot that I want to get done. There's a lot that I want to do. There's a lot that I want to do with you. A few things on the turning table, a few things coming up is we are going to be launching a small book club. If you're interested in joining our book club, let us know. We're going to be reading the book behind me, Think and Grow Rich, and we're just going to do some quickly daily check-ins. This is merely a group that will just allow us to keep up our reading and to study and to put these actions into place and to put these these items into action and follow the teachings and the things that we should be doing from various books. So if you're interested in joining our book club, we'll be launching that here very, very soon. If you need help, okay, if your business is stuck, if your business isn't growing, if you need to increase your connections, now's a great time to reach out to me. I'm improving the ways that we have outreach. I'm improving the ways that we have create connections. And now is a great, great time to do so. Also, if you have interest in joining our podcast, if you'd like to be featured, if you have a book, if you have a concept you'd like to talk about, we on the Circle of Knowledge podcast, we create discussions and mastermind dialogues on the various concepts in every book. Think and Grow Rich will be a great piece. Okay. High Performance Habits and a lot of these other incredible books will be awesome. So there you go. There's some options for you. I think this is a great opportunity for me to just say thank you for all that you're doing, for all that's going on. And this is the opportunity to ask me questions or to share your thoughts. So we are ending this live hour just a little bit early. I appreciate you, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity to share my knowledge. And here's a thought, you guys. I actually learned this from the great old Gary Vee. Okay, so judge if you'd like, but Gary Vee, he shared this. He said, don't stop what you're doing. Don't worry about subscribers. Don't worry about listeners. Don't worry about watchers. Don't worry about views. Don't worry about analytics and likes and comments, right? He said, don't worry about that stuff. Just keep moving forward and be patient because you do what you do best. create an ungodly amount of content in the way that you do best. And then things will take off. Gary Vee is a great example of this, because Gary Vee was posting Wine Lab stuff and doing all kinds of things for a very long time, almost 10 years before anyone even took notice. Now you're probably like, well, he just wasn't doing it right, or he wasn't being effective, or he didn't have the right strategies. And yeah, that might be true, you guys, but still, be patient. Do what you need to do and fill it out. Allow people to align with your vision and come to you. Now, that's not the same thing as if I build it, they will come. It's stand your ground, trace your values, and proceed with patience, right? And when you do that, you find prosperity in your life. You will not be unhappy. You will love the game, and you will hate winning because you don't know how. Because you love building and growing and winning so much that it becomes the game. The victories, you expect them. And when you expect them to be awesome, and then they're disappointing because it was never enough, right? And that might not be the way to live. Obviously, there's other better ways to live, but I will tell you this, that if you're not focused and loving the game, then you're in the wrong game. Then you're in the wrong arena. So there you guys go. There's your motivational message for today. If you have any questions, want to submit them, please send them to me via instant messenger. And I look forward to our discussions as we continue to move on. By the way, we'll be sharing an article with you. I contributed an article to Ron Culp. Ron Culp is a legend in the public relations industry, and he's got a online blog, and we have an article that we'll be sharing tomorrow where I was featured, and I share with you how to make money during COVID-19, how to find jobs, and how to apply for jobs during this time. And I shared some of my thoughts, and it all stemmed from an article that came from the Wall Street Journal. And in that Wall Street Journal article, there were quite a few entrepreneurs who said what to do, but they were really unrelatable. So I mean, no offense to those guys. They're obviously doing very, very well and successful, but their advice was not relatable to me, to anyone of my status, or anyone who is like me or in the area. So I think that they missed the opportunity there. Wall Street really missed the gun. So we wrote an article in response to that, and we have some ideas, some thoughts on how you can make money during COVID-19, how you can get jobs, how you can get employment, how you can make transitions, and so forth. And it's all based on hard skills. It's all based on hard skills, which you need to tap into your inner strengths. Okay. So there you go. Thanks for joining me today. Appreciate you all. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you want to get in touch with me, please send me a direct message. You can get in touch with me on my page. That's John Kovac Jr. Speaks at Facebook, right? So appreciate you all. Looking forward to more conversations. Upcoming next week, we have a couple webinars, a couple opportunities, a few interviews, and some awesome things. But just stay tuned and let me know if you need anything. Okay, signing out. Love you.